Hi there, and welcome to Connection Through Conversation. This is episode 4, featuring our beautiful author, Donna Fitzgerald, from our very first book, Daring to Share, Dare to Hear. It's now in a second edition, and I welcome you to grab it because it's got me in the first chapter. We just switched it out a little bit, and it can be purchased on Amazon. So today we're going to be speaking to the beautiful inner purpose feeling calm, and how we use calm, or are using calm, if we are, to guide us through the COVID crisis. Generally speaking, when we talk about an inner purpose feeling, I'm just going to give you a bit of a background about that, because I've had a few messages asking me why we're using certain feelings with certain featured authors. And the reason for that is because that's how we structured our book. We used those feelings. Each of the authors used their own unique feeling to use as a guide through their writing process. So Donna's is calm. So that means, and I'm going to sort of speak for her a little bit. If I say something that's not true, just cut in, Donna, and let me know. But usually the inner purpose feeling that the author uses, it's because that is where they have landed in this positive, beautiful feeling of connection that they would articulate or describe as that inner purpose feeling. So for Donna, it was calm. So that would mean that she actually landed there after moving through somewhat of a process or a time of, I'm going to use the word chaos, maybe. And, you know, if we've already had John on talking about belonging, and I remember him talking about how there was a period of time in his life where he felt like he was other. I love that description of being other or feeling other. And then he used that feeling of belonging because it's, of course, what he was yearning for to get there. Scott went through a period of time when he was not necessarily making choices based on his integrity. And so he used integrity as his guide. And of course, Angela, we had that call a couple of weeks ago, and hers was about contentment. So we would assume as the reader or the viewer that she went through a process of feeling discontent and then use contentment as her guide to get there. So that's actually the Daring to Share way of writing a story, is to figure out where I was, how I was feeling, not my authentic way of being, having that awareness, and then finding out how we want to feel and moving towards that, using that feeling as a guide. So we've got a lot of people on the call today. We've got Shri from volume 2, Inspiration is his chapter. Angela, of course, Contentment. Scott and John, Integrity and Belonging. And Stacie is a community guest who is now free to come on every call that we have, because she was our last community guest. And today we have our community guest is Mike Chisholm of He Changed It. So hi everybody and welcome.
Hello.
Hello.
And we'll just start with Donna. Donna, just wondering if you can share how you are using that inner purpose feeling of calm through this whole COVID crisis. You know, maybe you weren't feeling so calm at the beginning, or maybe you've gone through ebbs and flows of chaos. If you want to just share how that's gone.
Sure. Welcome everybody. Glad to be here. I'm not feeling calm inside. This is like hard for me. For calm for me is self-care. I've had to come to this place where self-care is very important to me, and I have a routine. And I try not to waver from that too much. I journal every day and meditate. I exercise about an hour and a half a day. And through the journaling, I have my morning reflections that sometimes come out of that. There was a time where I didn't actually use self-care and lost myself in the past. So I'm very aware of what I need to do to keep calm and focused, because if I'm not calm and really present, then I'm not there for my kids and everyone else who needs me. So I've learned to put myself first so I can be there for others. And
Have you found that that's come and gone through this whole thing? Like it's been we determined the other day it's been about 4 weeks. Like have you found there were times where you had to recalibrate?
It's been pretty steady. I mean, I live alone, so it hasn't really impacted me a great deal, other than that I used to go out to exercise, so now I've had to rearrange my schedule. I do it in the house, and you would have thought I was funny this morning running down through the house to get my heart rate up and do things.
That's great. I love it.
And now I think it was about 2 weeks in, I did have a day where I've been baking a lot, and I took some baking to my son and his wife, and I have a new grandson who's 5 months old. So I put it on the porch, and then they came out to talk, and I couldn't hug them. So that was the hard part. So I cried all the way home. So I've had to sort of let that go, like feel it and let it go.
Yes, very good.
Because I can't hug them. They're all healthy. They're calling every day. I'm talking to them every day, but I had to sit with it for a while, because then it came to a place where I was feeling like really alone, because I'm alone, and I don't have anyone to hug me in the house when I'm feeling low and vulnerable, and so I had to sort of write through those emotions about not being in a relationship, not having someone here, not being able to hug my kids.
Were you journaling?
Yeah, I'm a master journaler.
Yeah, I think that's a really key part of your journey with Calm.
Journaling is the key for me. It gives me a voice. It gives me the time to write every day, and sometimes it'll be quick, sometimes it'll be like 12, 14 pages. I'm in the flow and can write. But that is what has really served me well for the last 15 years, going through, trauma and difficult times. So journaling for me is key. It's magic, really.
Do you find, like, because I know your story, and a lot of us do, and you did go from trauma to recovery, really. Have you found at any time during this COVID experience that has sort of triggered brought your trauma back up at all? Or do you feel like it not?
No, it hasn't brought the trauma up. It has brought I'm so grateful every day, because I know what it was like to be totally alone and lost. And so I think maybe the feeling that I had in the beginning is I'm a nurturer and a giver. So I was trying to find, okay, so how can I help? How can I give when I'm in my house?
And you found it with the baking.
I think that was probably the struggle in the beginning, because I'm always giving to others or helping where I can, and I was trying to figure out, okay, well, if I'm in the house, how am I going to do that? I'm doing my part to stay isolated. If I exercise, I go out to exercise. I usually go early morning or later in the evening, so that's not really as many people around. I go to the grocery store only once a week. And then through my journaling and writing is where I came up with the baking. So I started, fabulous. Because I always bake. I mean, this isn't just because of COVID-19. I bake all the time and give to people all the time. But I decided to bake and put it at my local post box for my neighbors. So
like the community one, yeah.
A community one, and then I put a note on it, and just to reinforce that they're not alone and they're being thought of. And so I did that 2 weeks ago, and I had 2 notes left. So I did it again this Sunday, and I had chocolate muffins, and I knew they would go because everybody loves chocolate. So the bin was empty on Tuesday, so I'll do it again on Sunday.
And you and your friend also baked for the
yeah, we dropped off cookies for the paramedics today, And I've been baking bread and taking it. So it gives me something to do in the house that I feel like I'm giving to others. And so that helps me with my calm too, because it makes me feel good to do that.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, what I'm hearing is that it's about purpose. And we had that conversation, you weren't on the call, but with Candace and Angela and I, we talked about, we were the women on the call, and we were like, that's what, it might sound stereotyping, but it's like women want to take care of their families. And that's what I'm finding too, to find calm, is that I'm trying to do things for others as well, because that's what we do, is we not necessarily fix things, but we problem solve, and we take care of those who we love. And so I just started making these masks. So I just put some in a thing I'm going to send in an envelope and send them to my kids, because they're amazing. They're made out of these rolls. They're supposed to be like a really good material to work as a mask. They're not foolproof. Like, they're not like obviously the hospital grade ones, but they're better than nothing. And I'm not going to use it as a security blanket, but I used it the other day, and I do feel more protected. And so that also provides me with some calm, because I'm realizing that I have a little bit of anxiety, and I've never had anxiety before in my life. But this is bringing up a little bit of that anxiety, and it's definitely about having control over a situation and fixing things. So if recognizing that and working through it, it's like the fear that we talked about before. It's like recognizing that I can't have control over this, but I can do other things that serve myself and others, and there's purpose behind that. Then that provides me with that calm. And I feel like that's similar to you with your baking, and you have other practices which are amazing. Like, you're actually using every practice in the book, Donna. The foundational practice of fitness, the rest, your journaling, your meditating. You didn't mention meditation, but I know you do that too. And all of those things, plus having purpose within doing for others, serving others, it's really who you are anyway. So you're right. It's just, you're doing maybe a little bit more of that now.
Yeah. I'm just, I don't have any fear about the virus, or, I'm doing everything I can to protect myself.
Yes.
If I get COVID-19, well, that's out of my control. I'll try to stay as calm and probably meditate my way through it and try to stay calm through it, because the more anxiety ridden you get, the worse you're going to experience.
Yes. And you're healthy.
Yeah, but that doesn't give me a pass.
Well, no, but it makes
I'm over 60.
higher. Well, that's true. Yeah.
And so I'm just finding that my self-care routine has really helped me through this time. And I think maybe the only time where I was feeling the loneliness part is my kids are both married now and not home. So this is the first major thing that I'm going through, and they're not in the house.
Yes.
So that's the thing that I was dealing with was.
Yeah. I find that really hard too.
Shannon was always here.
Yeah.
So, I'd be doing things for her or whatever, but now they're both gone. So it's actually a very good learning experience for me. I'm growing through it, learning more about myself. You're always growing and learning. It's like you think you've got it figured out, and I don't have it figured out.
Yeah, how many times have I said that? You think you arrive, and then it just starts all over again.
Yeah. So it's learning to be creative, because I can't really exercise outside. So I'm being creative to make new choices for inside. And
me too. I'm not exercising, so that's my solution. I'm walking every day. I shouldn't say that, but I'm not doing anything inside.
And for me, and then I needed to connect with people, so I went through my texts through my phone, just reached out to everybody that I normally talk to every day or occasionally, just to make sure they're doing okay. So if I can do that, then I feel like I'm connected and I'm calm, and every day is a blessing. I did move my meditation chair. So now I'm in my front bedroom. I took the blinds off the window. I just want sunshine to come in because I was meditating in the basement. I had a place in the basement. So I've made that change. So I'm just making changes that reinforce what I need.
Well, I think you're doing an amazing job. You're really listening to yourself and using those awakenings that you have all the time, and recalibrating and shifting. It's fabulous. Great job. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Shri, what about you? How's calm for you through this?
I think the first thing that comes up for me when in this conversation is I would invite anybody that's watching this program to release any expectation that we'll find this level of calmness and be able to maintain it every day, all day.
Very good.
Because we're constantly taking in new information and we're analyzing the information that's out there. And I find myself all the time kind of moving in and out of fear, calm, on a constant basis. So I really admire what Dawn is doing. She's essentially utilizing all the tools that we have, or many of the tools, to find that groundedness, to find that heart space, that place of presence. And that's what I'm trying to do too. Is for years I've been a yoga teacher and a coach, and I've been teaching these tools. And now I get to utilize them myself on an ongoing basis. So every time I find that I'm not feeling calm and grounded, then I ask myself, okay, what could I do right now? And I'll choose to either maybe go for a little hike out in nature, maybe do a little gardening and connect with the earth, or a breathing exercise, a meditation, for each of us to find those tools that work for us. And that's what works for me. So spending time out in the sunshine. And
good.
For me, a big part of it has been choosing to disconnect from the chaos. So again, this is just for me, but I spend very little time on social media these days. I know a lot of people are going there because they want that connection. They want those conversations. I actually find that it doesn't serve me very well right now. That I don't want to get swept up in anybody's fear or chaos. So spending time in isolation in nature is working much better for me. That's
great. Yeah, I'm finding I'm spending less and less time on social media. I think at the beginning it was a source of information for me too. But at this point I'm just posting things that, we are doing and trying to inform people that way. And also there's certain groups that I go to that I want to, that I know will put good source stuff on there. So I hear what you're saying for sure. One of the things that I'm being really conscious of is also being mindful about how I feel physically, my somatic responses to things. Like even just on this call, at one point I could feel my shoulders go up, and it's not necessarily that I'm stressed out on the call, but it's the whole subject and the whole, this is all about COVID, really. I mean, it's how we're responding to COVID. So I could feel myself do that. And for whatever reason, so just being conscious of that, and then being able to bring my, take a breath and bring my shoulders back down and go back into that space of calm. And that is something for me that I've had all my life. And we all do it actually without maybe even realizing it, but we have that physical response to things far before we have an emotional response. So I'm really taking the time to listen to myself. And then if I miss it, if it goes into my head and into my emotions, then also to be mindful about that and recalibrate again. That's again, just being present, that being present keeps coming up. Yeah. Thanks, Shri. Angela, how are you?
Hi there.
It's kind of like contentment, right?
It is. It's very similar. And I found myself agreeing with every single one of you that has spoken. It's very true. For me, the the self-distancing is really good too in a few ways. There's 4 of us here at the house right now. Our daughter and her partner's here. They've been here for 4 weeks. And I love having them around too. But there are times during the day, like I said, it's not all, you know, contentment or calm, you know, 24/7, believe me. I too just go outside, go for a walk, come upstairs, I'll journal, we'll do my little craft things. You know, I just find too, finding that time and not have your phone on or your watch on.
Yes.
And also, again, like what Shri said, same, there's only so much I can take with the news. You know, there's just so much information coming out at us all the time.
Yeah.
And you know, you hear it from the news sources, then you hear it from your loved ones, and you hear it from your peers. And I too, there's just some days I don't
It's
even
constant.
go. Just,
Yeah.
I'm done.
Yeah,
You
I
know?
came out of the office yesterday at 4 o'clock and Hank had that friggin' Trump on again. And I said, you really need to put Steve Harvey on. Like, I can't deal with, I I need some lightness, like change it to something different. Yeah, I agree. It's too much. It's way too
Yeah.
much.
And it's just, again, too, for me, it's the outlet. I've been baking, but unfortunately, I haven't really been giving it to our neighbors, so you know where it's going. But I'm working out lots.
That's good. You're maintaining
But,
that. That's good.
yeah,
Well, and we
I
need to
do
have
manage.
compassion for ourselves too, right? It's okay to
Yeah.
have some of that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm.
That's
It's
good.
all good, and
Thanks,
but
Anne.
yeah, seem to agree with everyone.
Great. Thank you. Scott,
Hi.
are you being calm through all of this Zerb thing? But that kind of stuff winds us up, right? I mean, that's chaos.
Yeah, absolutely. I find for me, how I maintain calm is maintaining control over what I can control.
Mm-hmm.
You know, getting up every morning, setting some minor goals. Again, you know, we've talked about self-compassion and whatnot. And I really think, you know, as people, you know, we have this pressure to be productive all the time. So, you know, I've tried not to be productive all the time, and mostly successfully. But, you know, again, just trying to fill my day. Yesterday, I hauled my elliptical machine out of the garage, and
Wow.
yeah, exactly. And then I got on it for a while. So, you know, there's one in
That's a good thing.
right? But mostly I find, you know, again, you know, getting up, having some structure in my day, you know, trying to navigate CERB and the benefits and the provincial versus the
A lot of work. It's like a
federal.
job.
It is.
Yeah.
I said that to a friend of mine yesterday too. I'm like, it appears that my new position is applying for financial aid and day drinking. So,
Great.
yeah. So she said, you know, some people live their whole lives that way.
Yeah.
I missed my calling. But jokes aside, I've been supporting a lot of people through that process as well, because, you know, for me, information is power, and, you know, I'm empowering myself by finding out, you know, who qualifies for what and how. And, you know, I've got several coworkers and friends of mine who have called and said, how do I do this BC Hydro thing? You know, how do I apply online? And, you know, I have that information. So I've been very fortunate that way.
I love that you're using the word empowerment rather than control. I think that's a really good point.
Yeah, yeah, fair.
Yeah. And also that you're using it to serve others as well.
Yeah, well, you know, I think for someone like me, I'm much more comfortable being a human doing than a human being. And I've said that before. And, you know, it gives me comfort to actually feel like I'm doing stuff. And, you know, so that's where I'm finding my calm is.
That's
you know,
good. I'm the same. I'm a very productive person, and I've tried to do that thing where I just don't do nothing. And I think it's just so ingrained in me. It's just who I am. And I don't really want to change that.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I like doing things and creating things. And whether it's like not necessarily creative in an artistic way, but just creating things like programs or books or, you know, that kind of thing. Or just creating this. Like, this is very purposeful. We're getting so many people, by the way, sending messages about this. It's really taking off. Like with every call, we get more and more people that are interested. So that's a good thing.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's supporting others.
Yeah. I told you in a conversation the other day, I've had some people reaching out to me too.
Yeah, it's fabulous.
So yeah, it's
good.
You know, that's what we're here for.
Thanks, Scott.
Thank you.
John?
Hey, Diana.
How are you, honey?
I feel pretty much like I did yesterday, and really resonated with Shri when he was talking about sort of the emotional ups and downs of this whole process, and just listening to everyone. You know, thankfully, all of us have resources and tools, you know, and that self-awareness to, you know, really connect with ourselves through journaling or meditation. And certainly for me, those kinds of activities are also very, very helpful. For me, you know, I've been doing a lot of reflection as well, and taking some time, even just out in the yard in the sunshine, and just attuning to incredible quiet for the most part, as well as, you know, thinking in terms of calm. For me, it's just basically very much about being present, like you said, about the emotions that I'm experiencing at any given time. You know, uniquely for me, you know, because I also, you know, was diagnosed with major depression. This is a very, you know, this is a difficult time.
Yes.
You know, with the trauma, early childhood trauma, and then because of the depression, periods where I was unemployed as well. So, as you know, I recently was laid off, and then found myself in a situation where I was, you know, revisiting almost, and just aware of other times in my life where I was feeling that, you know, loss of purpose,
it kind of brings that feeling up.
Yeah, and for me, I think it's more challenging than some of you or other people to create structure, because my depression can be difficult. There's a sort of, you know, almost just a singular sort of emotional state that tends to override the need to do things in a concrete way.
Yeah, it's hard to get out of that.
Out of that. For me, though, it's a matter of survival. I mean, in terms of, you know, coming through trauma and various challenges throughout my life, being aware of my emotions and spending time in reflection, in just sort of, you know, really evaluating the thoughts that limit me, really evaluating genuine feelings that may be overwhelming at various times. You know, I need to go there. It's survival for me. So often I will pick up the phone and call someone, a close friend, as well. And for me, just talking about that, and luckily I have people that will listen, and certainly I want to hear their story, their sort of vulnerable truths about their own experience. So, you know, a lot of it is just sort of being and allowing myself to be in whatever emotional state, and really doing the inner work that's presented. Because, you know, for me, I can accept, you know, every day is different, but we are all under a great deal of stress and crisis. And then at the same time, you know, I can accept the ebbs and flows, but what's presented for me is to really look within at what I'm resisting, look within at the emotions that arise that make me feel less than, look within, you know, employment. You know, as a former employment counselor, there's an automatic curve where when you're unemployed for a while, depression is totally normal. And so for a lot of people that are experiencing, you know, financial stress and all these things, that all these things that we relied upon in the normal world, you know, that's gone. So to acknowledge, for me to acknowledge that, acknowledge what I know about the process for these elements is me self-healing. It's me having a talk with myself, just with John. And, you know, that's really what's helped me a lot. And for me, calm is just about being aware moment to moment and dealing with every moment, because you can't control the future. So you only know that you will be present and able to handle whatever.
It's really about you allowing yourself to be vulnerable, first with yourself, and then I love that you're being vulnerable with other people. I know that you and I have had long conversations. That is one thing that I do, is I do walk every day for an hour and a half. And usually during that time, I connect with someone on the phone while I'm walking. I give myself a certain amount of space to be by myself out there. And then I do ultimately feel like I want to connect with someone. So I have been doing that. And John and I have had some very deep, meaningful conversations during them. And they've been great because they're providing, they're providing each of us clarity about each other, but mostly about ourselves. So it's always nice to get a perspective from somebody else. It's not that we're telling each other what we think about each other. It's just that we're sharing what we're going through. And then ultimately we resonate with pieces of that, which is, again, like, it's funny. It's the daring to share storytelling thing, right? It's about really sharing and listening to each other, and then learning from each other, from those, and being inspired.
Yeah.
John, for me, is, I hope I do the same for you, but you're very motivating for me. Like, you do inspire me to keep going from one day to the next, whether it's going through COVID or not, because I do have those moments where I don't feel calm. I feel very chaotic inside because I'm wondering, what am I doing? What am I supposed to be doing right now? And I think that what I've learned is that for calm for me is about, who talked about expectation? Shri. Calm for me comes from a place of no expectation, of just, and that, I keep talking about daring to share, and I'm not trying to plug it or anything, but it is just what it is. It's always been about that. When Scott and John and I first got together, it was about just allowing something to organically evolve. And we never had a plan or even a vision. I mean, now we're somewhat getting a plan with the documentary, but it's like, we never really had a goal or a vision. It just organically flowed. And I feel like that's what I want for me in my life, is to just evolve as a person organically with the awakenings that I have, and to determine what I want to do from that day forward. So is it that it's not an expectation. I don't want to be a certain way. It's like when I talked about people going on FaceTime Live or Facebook Live and saying, I'm popping on. It's kind of annoying for me, because why are you saying that? You're saying that because everybody else is saying it. Just be who you are. So that, and I feel like it's the same even throughout this COVID journey. I just want to be who I am. Of course, follow all the rules and everything. I'm all about that. But also just, because if I listen to Donna and everything she's doing, it's great for you. For me, it kind of brings up a bit of chaos, because it's too much. I can't do all that. Like, I feel like it's too much expectation to do that every day, but it works for Donna. And so for me, I'm like, I don't want to have all of those things in my day, because it's going to be too much for me. I won't be able to get to the calm then. It'll do the opposite, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, John. Stacie, how are you today?
I'm good, Diana. Thank you for asking.
Are you calm?
I am today, and it's funny that this topic came up, because yesterday I experienced a very profound feeling, and I do resonate very much with everything that everybody's saying. My thing is to help others as well. I love doing things for other people. I love making other people smile. Ultimate to my demise, because I end up being a people pleaser. And I'm trying to back off from that a little bit and see that there has to be some kind of balance there.
You're right.
But being in this mode of helping others, I've started building these masks, and they're to go over the healthcare workers and N95 masks, so that they sustain the lifetime of the masks. It's amazing that I can do this, and it's amazing that I'm having a time with it and being able to do it. But I felt myself pushing against it, because I felt that I was all consumed by it, that every morning I woke up and the first thing I thought of was these silly masks, and I have to build and I have to make, even though I've been told several times, it's not a race, Stacie. Do what you can. And I'm not a sewer, I'm a chef. So
yes.
In all honesty, doing this, I felt myself wrapped up. And then my profoundness literally came to me when I was doing my yoga yesterday morning, and the theme of the yoga practice was grounding. And it really just kind of pulled me in and said, okay, inside, what are you feeling? Why are you feeling this tenseness? Why are you pushing against yourself? I learned a great deal yesterday, just from it all. And I was able to stop and say, okay, if I only get 5 masks done today, then I only get 5 masks done today. It's still 5 more than they had yesterday.
Absolutely.
And I was
such a great gift.
Yeah, exactly. And it was a great gift. And not only that, but I had the added calmness of actually going outside and just sitting with the sun beaming on my face and my toes intertwined in the grass. And just that literal moment, and I breathing that air, I was able to just completely ground myself out. And I felt this overwhelming sense of calm that I'm doing all I can. I'm being true to myself, and I'm not over inundating myself with any kind of anxiety around this.
Around the expectation. That's so great.
Yeah. It was an incredible moment. And you know, exactly what Shri was saying about expectations, that you have to stop sometimes and stop over expecting yourself to be something that you're not.
Yes.
And be true to who you are. And then that, I think, incites and propels calmness.
Absolutely. Well said.
Thank you.
I think that we're all doing, like, to your point, I think we're all doing the best that we can. And it's also the best that we can given our circumstances, but also within our own, where we're at within ourselves. I mean, we're all moving through this in a different way. You know, it's interesting that Donna was talking about being alone and how that can be taxing. And then other people are at home with kids, and that can be taxing. It's, you know, I'm with Hank who experiences anxiety and it, you know, that kind of thing. So that can be taxing. Mike is working through the whole Ilara deal. You know, that you're going to get home and you're going to be like, I can't believe we just went through that. Like we survived that, because now you're still, it's this moving forward thing. And so we're all managing different things. So we need to do the best we can given what we're experiencing, and no one can tell us how that needs to look.
Exactly. Exactly.
And that can bring each of us our calm. If we can find clarity about that, determine what it is, and then move towards that. Mike Chisholm, our guest community person, our featured community guest, I guess is what I should have said. How are you doing? It's so nice to have you.
I appreciate being here. Yeah, I'm doing fantastic.
Well, I've been following you along on social media, and you're also into the yoga and the writing, all that creative stuff and mindfulness. It's beautiful.
Yeah, I feel like I got a head start on everything that's been going on with the COVID. It's be a broken record, but new people who have won't have heard the story. So first off, Diana, I can identify with something that you said. You are organically based on that you have, and that's what you said earlier in the call here, and that speaks to my heart. That's the kind of creature as well, constantly growing and whatnot, and that's kind of the foundation inside that I'm trying to build, and I have been for a long time. And sometimes those foundations get tested, and the silver lining I always look for is when foundations are tested, that's when structural flaws are found and improvements can be made. And sometimes it can actually lead to some amazing things happening. I'm hoping that this COVID crisis, that's what it does. You know, I was thinking about Serve the other day, and you know, my whole life I'm self-employed. I'm in the financial business, and I've never had EI or anything like that. And there was a time where
Hang on, Mike. Sorry, Mike. I'm going to ask everyone to just mute because we're getting a little bit of kickback if you don't mind, other than Mike. There we go. Go ahead. Sorry.
All right. Hey, no problem. I hope that's not me. There's some construction going on. There's a building being built right behind me. I hope that's not what it is.
Could be. We'll see.
Okay. But there was a time in my life where I wouldn't have wanted, I would have had a real pride issue with accepting anything. And when I applied for CERB over the phone, and then a couple days later, there's the money in my account, it's like, holy cow, this is an amazing thing during an unprecedented time. And I just went to a place of gratefulness. And
That's amazing.
That's the place. Yeah. And Candy got hers today. And it's just like, okay, she applied, I think on the phone yesterday.
Very good.
It just, bam, it just happened. We're both self-employed. So
yeah.
And we're grateful for it. You know, it's not one of those things where pride is even entered in, and that's an organic evolution.
Yes.
I didn't know if 10 years ago I could be able to say that with, you know, with a smile on my face, you know.
Yeah.
But to rewind, I believe my head start began because of the personal situation that we're in. On Christmas Eve, we were told that our 21-month-old granddaughter, and you got to understand that our granddaughter is she's everything to us. It's our first granddaughter. She is, it's like God took the word cute and made it into an individual. Like, she is just this amazing girl. She had hair down to her bum at 21 months. She's this, people walk up to us randomly and they say, can I just look at her? Can I just, like, she's just this, yeah, she's not of this world. And on Christmas Eve, we found out she had a tumor the size of a navel orange behind her tailbone. And going through that was just, to say the least, a process. And again, to go back to something Diana said, you know, it's one of those situations where, I mean, I think we've all had them, where you look back and you go, holy shit, I can't believe I went through that. You know?
Oh yeah.
Oh man, I can't, and you try and put yourself back in that situation. You're like, I can't believe I went through it.
Mm-hmm.
This is,
yes, for sure.
And I remember about a month in, like, so we uprooted our family. So our son and daughter-in-law, and our daughter-in-law's got some mental health challenges. So they knew they were coming down to Vancouver. They were going to be staying at Ronald McDonald House, and Candy and I just kind of looked at each other. We didn't even have to make a decision. We were like, okay, well, we're going down there too. You know, we're putting our lives on hold and coming down here to be here. And it wasn't even a decision.
Of course.
Candy and I got people saying to us, holy cow, it's so brave what you did. No, it wasn't brave. It was just
what you do. Yeah.
And I'm a planner. I'm in the financial business, you know, and every single person that has spoken has taken something that I wanted, that I had kind of prepped to say. You know,
just say it. Just say whatever. Yeah.
A lot of personal development in this head. I've got a team of advisors that that look to me for leadership, and so I've got a lot of books in my head. I've got a lot of knowledge from the spiritual side of things, and I thought, oh, this will be easy. But every single person that has spoken here has taken a morsel of what I wanted to say, and I'm so grateful for that. But I'll tell you this: the one thing that that hasn't been mentioned today, that I have felt, is that when we uprooted our life, I'm a planner, like I said. We had done I had basically started on my 2020 goals before, you know, just before Christmas, just before we found out about the tumor. And I look back at those goals and I think, oh, okay, well, this is one of my favorite quotes: "Man plans, God laughs." And it's like, okay, you know, those things are a great guideline. They're a great, you know, they're a focal point of where I want to go. But sometimes, you know, the Yahtzee dish gets shaken and the dice get thrown out, and it's completely different than what you were anticipating.
Yes.
And I can tell you this, like, I through RSP season, I make $30,000 to $50,000 in income usually. Well, guess what?
Yeah.
We 100% forgave that this year, and it's okay. And there was a time very early on where it's like, how the hell are we gonna financially make this work? You know, with no income coming in and payments at home still, but at the same time wanting to be down in a city that's not cheap.
No.
I'm sorry, but if you would have told Mike on January 7th, you know, once we found out that Laura had gone through her surgery, once we found out the tumor was cancerous, and it's like, holy cow, we're gonna be down here for 4 months, not just 3 weeks. You would have told me that on April 9th, wasn't going to be the big issue right now because the earth was going to be going through a crisis where everybody is connected to and having to find these commonalities that we're all talking about here.
Isn't that
today.
wild? I know.
I would have laughed at it. And so the thing that, like, yes, I'm reading The Power of Now right now by Eckhart Tolle. And I mean, like, talk about being calm. Oh my God. Whenever there's chaos going around, all I do is I do a couple exercises out of that book, and it's like, okay, I'm in the here and now right now, and I'm very happy, like very happy.
That's
like,
fabulous.
Like I've got it in my head, like don't be reactive. Are you being proactive? And if you are being, analyze that behavior and figure out a way that you can be proactive and not taking on other people's stuff. We can only control the things that we're in control. Like, again, I'm just reiterating everything that you guys are saying, but the one thing that I've really, really learned is to understand that it's always worked out to this point, so it's going to work out. We made the decision with Alara that if we had to sell our house, we'll sell our house. Made that decision because family's more important. Well, we made that decision before this crisis began. Back to kind of where I started, I feel like I got a head start because now that we found out that Alara is cancer-free 2 days ago, you know, they did her scans. It's been 4 months. She's gone through 4 rounds of chemo. She's a warrior. She's gone through it way better. She's way stronger than her parents or her grandparents are.
Well, she's more present too.
That's
why.
All she is present.
Yeah.
Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. That's what it talks about. It talks about just focusing on that now and breaking yourself free of some of these time constraints and all that. That's exactly what she is, Diana. She's, you know, they're poking and prodding her, and it's heartbreaking for the people who love her so much to see it. But as soon as it's over, it's like, all done. That's what she says. All done.
Yeah. Candace was saying she'll say walk. She just wants to go for a walk. Yeah.
All done. And we're walking around the ward. It's because she's so present. And I think that that's probably the thing that's going to get us through. At the end of the day, if people around me are in chaos, I want to help them, but there's only so much I can do.
Oh, absolutely.
And somebody at the very beginning said something about self-care. I think it was Donna. She talked about self-care. And I mean, at the end of the day, I've got a chat. Kenny and I are writing a book, and one of the chapters that I'm writing is titled "My Self-Care is Their Healthcare," and it's that old analogy of when you're in an airplane, and you know, back when we used to think about airplanes in a different way now, right? And they give you that thing that we're trying to. We always try and distract ourselves through, like listen to music as they do that announcement at the beginning because it's just routine, right? It's just boring.
Yes.
That announcement, they talk about when the masks fall out, if something happens if the cabin's depressurized, whose mask do you put on first? Yours or your child?
Yours, yep.
And I think that that's what we got to do is we got to make sure our mask is on and that our physical, our emotional, our spiritual ducks are in a row.
Yeah.
Because if they are, we will be able to help others in a more effective way if that situation arises, including being able to recognize that that person is in their own hurricane of chaos right now, and there's nothing that we can do. And I think that that's a very important skill as well.
It is, Mike. I totally agree, and I think that you know, from the work that I've done in the past with Tana Hemmensley, it's really about, you know, the best way that we can support other people through those things is through a chaos, if you will, is by modeling the calm. Yeah. And then people will start to feel that energy, and it'll just happen naturally. Some won't, but and that's really the best that we can do.
If we've ever led people, you know, in the training to lead people, or the example of leading people, or the experience of leading people, you always know that if you have a good example, that's the easiest way to, that's a much greater tool in leading people, by being the example.
Yes. Yeah. That's authentic leadership. Yeah. Thanks, Mike. That's great. You're doing great.
I'll tell the story. I appreciate being able to broadcast from the rooftops that Alara is cancer-free. And speaking of broadcast rooftops, we've got 3 more nights. Every night, my wife and I come up on this rooftop patio that we've been blessed to be staying in.
I've seen it. It's great. Fabulous.
The waves at 7 o'clock of appreciation for the healthcare workers. We broadcast it on Facebook. My Facebook is public.
Yeah.
If you want at 7 Pacific, you want to feel good and feel part of a bigger collective of people.
We'll join you.
Yeah, join me. Listen to the noise that gets made at 7 o'clock.
They're doing that here in Kelowna too, and in Kingston. Are they doing it on Oceanside? No? And Toronto, you can unmute now.
Yeah, I just did.
Yeah.
Not that I've heard. No, they're doing it in Nanaimo. But
Okay, the bigger centers, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead and unmute everybody. Thank you so much, Mike. Love that sharing, appreciate it.
And I appreciate it, and I hope it's what you're looking for. It's
Yeah,
just
of course. Oh, it's all good. Thank you. Yeah, and I know they're doing it in Toronto too. Yeah, it's great. I'm gonna unmute you guys for you. There we go. There was something I wanted to speak to. Oh yes, Mike, whatever, you said something and I got thinking about really not feeling calm. Also, I think that a lot of it, for me too, I've had these thoughts of that when I feel chaotic, it's when I'm fearing loss of some sort. You know, we have our house up for sale. We're building in Kingston, and we've got money tied up in that build. And you know, obviously, we're not selling our house right now. So there's that feeling of loss. Yeah, it's a bit panicky, I guess, because it's like, what if I lose this all? And then that's when I just become curious about, well, what if I do? What if I lose this all? And, you know, my ego wants to say, shit, that's horrible. Like, this is going to be a disaster. It's going to be the end of the world. But really, it won't be. It won't be ideal. I know that because we've worked so hard for everything that we have. But really, in the end, I mean, people are dying. And, you know, look what you've gone through with Alara. So I always need to check myself with those things. I go through my little mini panic attack, and then just, I can't change it. Hank just sent me an article about the real estate situation right now. And like, please don't send me those things. Like I really just can't read that because it's not helping me. Like it's not changing anything. So it's just, I find that interesting. Like it's, again, I really think that it's this recalibration that has to happen almost every minute of the day. And again, I think that it's not just within COVID or other crises. It's if the world shifts at all, it's that more people will realize that we need to be constantly aware of how we're feeling and to shift to that, because we're using the word calm. So whatever the word is for you, to really determine what that is and move towards it. Good call, guys. That was a great conversation. Does anyone want to add anything or ask anybody a question?
That was good.
I'll just add that I appreciate you being a beacon.
What's that?
I just say I appreciate you being a beacon of light at this time. It's easy to set this up, not set this up, but you decide to set it up, and by that, it's helping people. So
well, thank you. Thank you so much. And I appreciate everybody taking the time to come on, because I know it's also easy to go and do other things, so I do appreciate that you're taking the time to do this. It's great. And it is impacting other people, and it's creating that connection that we want to create. That's the mandate of Daring to Share, is that we're connecting humanity through the art of storytelling. And what we've just done is share stories. So I really, really appreciate it. That's a beautiful thing.
You've all encouraged me. So thank you for that.
Sorry?
You've all encouraged me today too, so thank you for that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think we've done that for each other. It's good. That's another great piece of this. Yeah. Yeah. So we can take little tidbits, resonate with pieces of each other. And yeah, that's great. Thank you so much, Donna. You did a wonderful job. I know that it's not your thing that you love the most, but you always do look so calm. And I know that inside you're not always calm, but you did a fabulous job. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Love you guys.
Thanks.
So,
See ya.
yes, have a wonderful, wonderful day. And our next call will be next Monday if you want to come on. And it's scheduled to have Shri on. I'm not sure if that works for Shri, but yeah. So it will be Shri, and hopefully Maureen will be our community guest, but it's hard with her because she's getting called into the hospital a lot. So we'll have to see how that goes. So have a wonderful, wonderful day, and we shall see you all next week, hopefully. Thanks, guys.
And
Bye, everyone.
bye.